Hello, everyone. I'm back with another episode of Wow Moms series. Today, I have a special guest who is Sajani Rai Augustine from Delhi with us. Um, Probably, we're going to get to know about her more in detail through her itself. But let me give a small, probably a little bit of what she is and who she is and how are we connected. So, with unlike everyone, I hardly know Sajani, but the spark within us, we just spoke about hardly 2 or 3 times, but we could relate to each other so much. And we feel like, we're alike in our thought, the vibrations, despite the fact that she lives in Delhi and I live in Chennai, it's like two ends of the country. So, somehow we are connected. And I guess that's what this makes this world so nice and so great about knowing people of the same kind and same thought processes and the energies that we share. So, Sajani is a corporate hustler turned into a passionate educator for personal branding and online business for women. She's also a podcast host and an author of the book called The Power of Radical Authenticity. She's a certified ATD master trainer from Institute of American Training and Development and has had the opportunity to lead many leadership seminars fostering growth, diversity, and inclusion for women, being part of the Women Leadership Circle of Lean In, a non-profit organization founded by Facebook COO Shirley Sandberg. Wow, that's really huge, Sajni. I'm so glad I got to work with you. I honestly didn't know about the big bag, the feathers that you carry on your head. But yeah, let's get on to knowing to you more. So, after having been in the training and coaching industries for almost 2 decades now, she's here to share with us her rich experience and expertise and craft to serve a bigger cause. Let's understand what is it from her straight away. So, Sajini, uh, just for the viewers' sake, many of them know me from the background as such. I'm Farhana, Iffath life coach and an author, and I do brand myself for a theme on find your happiness. Again, I have authored a book called Working Mothers You Just Wow, and WOW stands for Women of Wonders, as you can see on the other side of my background. So I feel that, mom is a reflection of WOW word, and which is Women of Wonders is how I have given. So now that I'm talking to you about mothers and the books, I would like to understand what it means to you as a person, and along with the journey you've had in this big industry and working with the great people and training and development, because I feel the trainers are also somewhere carry that instinct of being a mother with the care that you want to share, the emotions, the empathy, the connections that you build with people, isn't it? So can you just share about it?
Of course, of course. Well, first of all, Farhana, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an
My
honor and
pleasure.
pleasure. And like you rightly said, the spark just hits when it hits. I think it's marvelous to be connecting like this on platforms and forums where we can share and have a creative outlet, right? So to share, the two aspects of your questions. One, let me share a little bit about my journey into, my space, into how I entered into the space of training and industry.
Sure.
Okay. So let us, in fact, go a few steps back and just share with our viewers about, my journey. Okay. In terms of not only the career aspect of it, but my overall, my passion for, being and helping people and serving people. So like most of us, I grew up, trying to, be my best in terms of, filling my mind in terms of like the texts and facts and logics and books, and you do all of that in your education institutions that tell you to do, right? But without having any grounding of forming the mind. Why? Is because we right from our childhood, or right from when we are young, we are told what to do, what to wear, who to marry, what career to pursue, how to behave, and everything is decided for us. So when that happens, you grow up having very low self-reliance, and self-reliance is a huge contribution to your self-confidence, right? Your self-worth, your self-identity. So you grow up without knowing your true identity. And you know, our parents, you know, it's this is not just, you know, one parent or two parents. It's across the world, not only in India. You know, that the fact that parents, in the guise of love, you know, it's not the lack of love, but it's the in the guise of love, or you know, the protection comes in, the discipline comes in, the hierarchy comes in, especially in the patriarchal society. So when this drains you, and then when you grow up with this without, you know, having this identity and this core values developed within, and when you go out and venture into the world, especially corporate, you know, and you know, you have to really be, you know, you have to really hustle. You have to really do your best to survive, right? It's a world of competition versus creativity. It's a world of winning versus learning. It's a world of you know, who gets the high rank. So you kind of like scramble your way up, trying to get as much as possible, and that getting, you know, the outer validation, the outer you know, approval, kind of like without having your core values, is what kind of drains your energy. It's what kind of shakes your, you know, your core from within, and then that breaks your natural authenticity, your natural vitality, and your spirit. And that's what happened with me. So my parents, you know, though it's not that they were alcoholics or they were any you know, of any wrong you know, culture or anything. They were very loving. They were very kind. They provided, they supported. But like every other you know, parents, their problem was a lot of worrying and anxiety and depression. Why? Because we lost my brother at a very young age. He was just 2 years elder to me. So losing their young son at a very young age brought them into this energy of very, you know, depressive mode, anxiety mode, and a very lot of you know, restlessness. So that energy is what I carried when I grew up. So growing up, what I carried was this energy of anxiety, low confidence, restlessness. So and when I went out into the world with this energy, everywhere I saw nothing but chaos and restlessness. I felt this lack of you know, worthiness within me, this the low energy and everything. And then when the world collapsed around me, started to collapse around me, and then the point where I hit the last block, or the zenith point, was when I lost both of my parents at a very young age too. They were 62 years both of age, within a gap of 7 months. And that kind of shook my core from within, and I had to retreat right from, you know, my core. And then that's when I started my journey of understanding you know, what the inner world is. What I started to read any kind of text that I could get hands on, like whether it is Vedic literature or you know, Bhagavad Gita, or Bible to the core, or reading ancient scriptures, or whether even it is any kind of science related mind you know, integration. So everything. Then when I started, you know, reflecting into the world, then I understood the fact that we are, you know, all conditioned. We are all bred into a pattern. Okay, 90 to 95 people are bred into pattern. So we live in this pattern of trying to survive, trying to fit in, trying to approve, trying to you know, get this or that from synthetic joys from outside, trying to fill us. And when I understood this, that's when my true you know, passion started to, you know, evolve within me. So the journey of the corporate hustle, you know, was very important. It wasn't irrelevant. You know, I'm grateful for this journey, because that's what the kind of that's the point where I understood the true meaning of what presence or authenticity is. So what authenticity or presence is, you know, is basically like what sunlight is to human beings, right? For vitality and strength. Similarly, presence and authenticity is our creative intelligence. So like Einstein, you know, Albert Einstein, you know, the great legend, the scientist, right? Who I'm sure everybody knows about.
Yeah.
He talks about the fact that you know, our intuitive mind is a sacred gift, but our logical mind is a faithful servant. But we have created a society where we honor the servant, but we've forgotten the gift, right? So that's when, when these readings, when these things, all of these, books were available, all of these information was available. But when I started to look at it with close attention, slowing down things, reflecting more deeply, then that is the point when I could understand the depths of, what truly presence or authenticity truly meant. And that is my journey of how then I evolved into coming into this world and into this platform, and constantly putting myself here, even though we are, like you and I are not naturally bred to be doing this very naturally, right? But we're still trying. Why? Because we come from a place of service. We want to serve our story. We want to serve our experience, so that somebody else in this journey could understand this, could get some hope, some idea, some inspiration, something that can ignite within them this journey, right? Because it's very important, because in a lifetime, if you're just living with patterns, if you're just living with like clones with each other, just comparing and judging and just living life as a bygone, then that is not a life lived, right? That's what we're doing in this century. So, and that insights, these key insights, like you bring in, for so many of of the women around you, people around you, and it kind of, you don't know whose life you touched. And that's the idea that I felt that now, since I have a huge experience of my training and coaching, I've done almost 2 decades of coaching and training, and working with people. So I understand one, people. Second, I now understand deeply psychology, and third, I understand the importance of having the presence, having the core values embedded within you when you want to do something outside. So that's why I want to dedicate my life to be able to decode the kind of like your personal brand, your own authentic, unique personal brand out into the world, and not become clones of each other, trying to compare, trying to judge, trying to see, how can I become better? How can I compete? How can I do this or that? Rather than outside, you naturally building your own personal brand. And that's what my work is dedicated to at this moment of time.
Wow, that's such an amazing, inspiring, and heartwarming journey you've had. Trust me, the viewers, I'm not lying. I really didn't know so much about Sajani. Honestly, while you were sharing about your brother and your parents and the way you've been brought up in a very protective way, I would call, they may not, you may have called it being anxious and being, fear, but I would call it protectiveness. The protective layer that parents put into children is something about fear and anxiety, and they constantly remind us, okay, the world outside is really dangerous. And I can very much relate to what I am doing right now with my children. Just 2 days or 3 days ago, I had to threaten my girls about how dangerous the world is outside. I've never done that so far. I have 2 girls, one is 9 and one is 6. I've always given them a wonderful, beautiful world outside, and all people are good, and all people are, good and bad both together within themselves. You cannot judge a person just like that and say he's a good guy, he's a hero, or she's a hero, and he's a villain. But it's a situation that make people behave in a way, and what you perceive out of it, right?
Yes.
And so that's how I've been telling my child. But a couple of days ago, it so happened that I had to scare my child for a cause that, you got to be really careful when you're going out. You never know how the world is outside. I've never shown you the bad part of it. And the protectiveness comes automatically, and it was I did not even realize that I'm going to do that part of educating my child with that scaring things about how children have been kidnapped, or how children have been now that we get to hear child abusing and so many things and sexual assaults happening around. I've never told them about it. But that moment, I did not know why did I do it. But maybe somewhere as a mother, I felt, okay, these children are taking the world very lightly. It's high time I have to tell them, right? And yes, of course, about teaching about them, about the stranger danger thing and all of that. And I was playing that part of a protective mother there.
Yes.
And I can very much relate to how your parents would have, brought you up, because losing a son at a very young age, I really cannot even imagine. I literally had those goosebumps, and my eyes were really filled with, numbness. And I'm really sorry for all your losses, but I see that God has a message and He wanted to make you all the more stronger. And that's where we come into picture of finding ourselves about where do we stand and why things happen to us. What is this happening to us? Why is this happening to us? The more the questions that we seek from the universe, the more answers we get. And the
Yes.
more we understand about ourselves, the inner self. And unless we are put in such difficult situations, we are not going to unfold or unleash our true selves, right? So I think you've had a tremendous and enormous and a gracious journey, I would call it, to look into a very positive side of things. So that's really amazing to know, Sajani. And I'm so glad that, you have aligned your life's journey in order to inspire other women around you. In a way, you beautifully said that, somewhere you and I are doing the same thing, and we are doing this for the sake of, like, of course, not becoming really famous or popular, but in a cause that, somewhere someone have also gone through such situations just like us,
Yeah.
one way or the other. And out of this one 30 minutes to 45 minutes of video the viewers are watching or listening to us, we would be able to impact their lives. And that's where we have taken an oath as speakers and coaches about
Yeah.
how do we transform life, how
Mhm.
do we put ourselves together when we are broken by the outside world, or even with the situations that would shatter us into pieces, and how do we pull ourselves along. And the simple and a very powerful message is that you are not alone. We are there and we've gone through it, and today we are here and,
Yeah.
picking it. It is really amazing to know, Sajani. Thanks a lot for that. And yes, talking about that, and the book that you have written, can you just elaborate to us about what made you write the book?
Yes, sure. So, I resonate so well with, each and everything that you said, that, the word that you are not alone. I think it's very, very powerful, because why? And before I transition into the book, is because, all of us, what we tend to do is we tend to, and a part of the book is also the part where we tend to hide our true emotion. We tend to put a facade or a pretense of like we are okay, but we are not really okay.
Yeah.
But the courage to be able to come out and say, I am not okay. I am, I'm not perfect, or I am, flawed. Right. So these are some of the things, and it's human to be flawed. It's human to be not perfect. It's human to have not be okay sometimes. Right. So you expect, a perfect, ideal, world. Okay, which is great, which is, you have a vision. We, all of us, were trying to push towards a vision, towards a goal, but sometimes we fail, sometimes we tend to make mistakes, sometimes we are flawed, sometimes we tend to think, but the perfection is a hindrance,
Yeah.
right? And then that's when we stop, and we don't come out and say that, Farhana, today I'm not feeling okay, today, I am not, I cannot do this, or I need help. So
Yeah.
that's the point where people stop. They feel that, you'll be regarded, you will be categorized or labeled as being a weak person,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
an emotional person,
Or
or
in an incapable.
capable person, right?
Yes.
So those stigmas that we have in our head, you know, needs to stop. That pretense needs to stop, and that's why more and more of us needs to come out and say that it's okay to be flawed. It's okay to be, not be perfect. It's okay to be fearful. All of us are. It's inhuman, right?
Yeah.
Perfection is just a, yeah, it's just an illusion. So that's where, my book about the power of radical authenticity is my entire journey,
Mhm.
plus a kind of it's like a calling, or like a kind of an echo
Okay.
to all the people, all the women especially out there, who feel that, oh, I think I'm the only one. I think there's something wrong with me. There's something not right about me, that I feel this way. But if you look around and just spread your view around, there'll be every woman who will have something or the other going on in life. Nothing happens 100% perfect every day, every time, right? So that's why I think that is very powerful. That's what I wanted to point out, right? Now, moving on to the book, like I mentioned, my major important theme is about this main thing is about being flawed, not trying to be perfect, because perfection for most of us is a hindrance, right? We can only, human minds can only do small little steps at a time, okay, towards moving towards that goal. What we tend to do is we tend to put that pedestal of somebody else. We tend to put some other image in our head of somebody else, from maybe some picture from an Instagram or something from somewhere that we have in our mind, if we want to imitate that, or we want to compare ourselves to that, and that kills our natural spirit. However, having a vision or having an inspiration is great, but we need to be able to work step by step. Even like when we started a journey, like for you and I, we all start somewhere. We're not perfect on the first goal. Maybe we're not perfect on the second goal. Not perfect on the third goal. But as the practice goes on, naturally, once the practice happens, we naturally move towards perfection. Naturally, right? But hitting that, having that mindset or having that cultural expectation of trying to be perfect on the very first go is what kills your natural authenticity, and that's what happens and kills. Most of us retreat back, and then we don't take any action. So that's another part of the book that I talk about in there, right? And I also talk about the power of the mind. Like you're also one of the people who are ardent understanding of the mindset, right? Where the mindset is very, very important to be able to manage. Like one of the books I really like is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I think the concept is explained so powerfully over there of how we have two systems of how our mind functions, right? One is our very effortless, natural part of our brain, and the second part is a creative intelligence part of our brain, which naturally fosters presence, right? So what happens is, most of the time when we grow up, we grow up without fostering a natural creative intelligence, because we've been always grown up with our effortlessness, or trying to just trying to cope with stress or trying to survive. But our thriving part of our brain is not nurtured. That's what I mean by filling the mind and versus forming the mind. Our second mind is never formed. Our system, part two, mind is never formed. Just to make it very simple, I think Daniel Kahneman has made it very, very simple for us to understand the mind. And these have been made by psychologist Richard West, and very famous another psychologist. I'm forgetting the name right now. Keith. I'm forgetting the name. So these psychologists were very, very powerful in terms of explaining this concept in a modern fashion, right? In a modern way that people can understand, and like you and I understand the end codes and how to manage that. So I think the end codes, we can see this, the system one, and the system two is the creative intelligence, which kind of like presence and which monitors the weeds that grow, and then we kind of like try to at least manage those as much as possible. So those are the elements that I've brought in, of various learnings. Now, how did I come to write this book? Is basically when I was going through my own journey of catharsis, of understanding my deep pain that I was going through. I was journaling a lot. I was writing a lot. I was introspecting a lot. So these journals later on, these understanding, these meditations, these thoughts that I was penning it down, I compiled it in a book, and then presented, so that people who like me are going through this journey may get some insight into it, and some help can be given, because I wasn't aware of the things that I am aware now. True. So improve the awareness.
Absolutely, that's really an amazing and a very straight from the heart kind of a book. It should be as such, isn't it? So while you had put down all your experiences, I'm sure you might be feeling really light, and you feel you might be feeling that whatever you have learned through your hard ways, of course you want to help the people around the world. It may be like whoever is reading it get benefited out of it. That makes all the authors so special, I believe, whoever has authored a book on self-help concept. If you see my book and it is on the working mothers, it's just not a journey of me. I definitely would have started as with my mother, because I never had a good relationship with my mom when she was, when I was a child, because she was a working mother. And I had a very misconception about she not spending time with me, and I always never wished to become a working mother myself at all. I really wanted to become a housewife, spend all my time with my children, have nice time with them. But eventually, life is, so unpredictable, and life has its own way to deal with it. And yes, I am still working, and I really gracefully work now. I would say, like, since last 2 to 3 years, because I was able to connect to myself. Until then, I was in an industry where, yeah, I was working. Then it was some kind of a force where I wasn't really happy within myself. As you said, that inner connect, that the flawlessness. I wanted to be really good and a perfect mother thing kept on coming to my mind. I was not doing justice. The guilt trips that usually moms have, I have a child. I wanted to become a housewife and take care of my child, but wherein I'm going to work. But I was not able to see the positive and the bright side of being a working mother then, which I now realize after going through the journey of life transformation myself. So, as you beautifully said, that not every human or nobody is in that way is perfect, or nobody, and they can't even perfect like overnight.
Yes.
It's not anything in life. If we takes its own sweet time, it has its processing time, it has its transformation time to take. Even you want to set a curd, you need to just put it overnight and leave it. And you want to cook something delicious, you want to eat, it takes its own time. So it has its own process, the step-by-step flow of it, so which we have to deal with it not, as you said beautifully, just don't look by the world outside what it's shown on the social media, somebody's achieving it, but we never see the hardships that the person has gone through in their lives, and the amount of time, effort and energy that other person has put in to achieve that success. People, as you say, will see me and always encourage me, and every time I've been releasing any videos or articles. But the amount of time I have spent on this is like 3 years. They don't know that all the last 3 years, how I had to deal with overworking with my office. Like, I'm as well from a corporate background, so I carry about 11 plus years in the IT industry, and I ran a play school myself. So I had been into the soft skills, personality development training, and of course, in a word, it's psychology. And I'm somewhere, aligned to understanding human behaviors, the patterns, the thoughts. Why are we like this? So always, I think Robin Sharma and Paula, the Alchemist author, all of them, they people who have achieved greater in their lives, greater heights in their lives, they never follow a pattern. And likewise, I was having this conflict within my mind. Why am I stuck here? My life could have been better, right? I wanted to change the pattern of how my family evolved, or how people around me are living. I really wanted to break that pattern. And that's how I stepped into reading books, self-help books from these people. Robin Sharma, Who Will Cry When You Die is my first book that I started reading on self-help. And eventually, I started to connect and relate to me. And I thought, okay, when a book can change my thoughts and it can align and resonate to me what I am, I feel that there's a lot of people out there who are still searching for themselves. And when this concept of writing this book came, it was just not the journey that I have been through as a mother, but I have incorporated about 15 mothers' real life stories and how they have transformed and evolved despite the fact that their challenges of being a mother and especially an Indian mother. I have to praise this in quotes, because being an Indian mother and working mother all by themselves takes a lot to be successful. I wouldn't call it successful. It's not like, earning $1 million and having really achieving big things. But again, you balancing and having a work-life balance in your self is what makes a person really, really know. Coming back to the mindset part that you were talking about, yes, it does take the mindset of a person to change the patterns of the world that has taught us. So we need that mindset. The growth mindset is what is very much needed for each of us to survive the challenges that we are into. And it doesn't mean that it is going to end. As soon as we change the mindset, it doesn't mean it's going to end.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we're going to have new, more challenges. So life, again, it has its own way of telling you and teaching you.
Yeah.
Time is, even though time is the best healer, again, life is a greater teacher. And, we need to learn and go by the flow of it and see how we deal things with I'm sure the way I am dealing things right now in today's time is not the way how I was dealing things 3 years ago, right? So we have evolved as human beings, and we're given six senses to think about the creative part that you're talking about. And even I'm getting into studying the subconscious mind and theories about it, so I can very well resonate with what you're talking about. And I have also registered myself for fellowship in psychology for adults and children, wherein when I started my degree, the first degree, bachelor's degree, is in BSc in mathematics. And then I did a MA in English literature 10 years away apart from each other, because I started finding what I like.
Yes.
Those days when we did the courses and when we studied, nobody asked us, what is your passion? Nobody identified my intelligence, or nobody said. In fact, there were days where, whenever I used to talk, people used to run away. Said, oh my God, she's going to talk like, for one simple thing, she's going to take ask to tell, to communicate the message. But today, the same thing, the way I speak, the way in the details that I pick in from conversations, and the details that I mention has brought me so far. I was not allowed to talk, to now people are asking me to talk more. People are inviting me for giving lectures and seminars. So again, coming back to the point of your book, so guys, the viewers, you should understand there is a limitless you within your own self. You will have to unleash it, unlock it yourself. And if not, you will have to seek help. We did seek help. We chose to seek help from the books, and I did seek help for transforming myself by enrolling myself as a life coach. And Sajani did the same as well. And she and I have been through a massive journey about transformation, studying psychologies and trying to understand people and behaviors. So Sajani, please tell our viewers if they would like to seek help from you on this journey, if they wish to transform their life, and how could you help them, and where they can find you, like your social media handles. Of course, we are going to write them in the description of this video. However, it will be helpful for the people who are only listening to us rather than maybe driving, or they might be doing some yoga and exercises. So why don't we make it verbal as well?
Yeah, wow, I love yoga.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, I love yoga and workout. So I think the one thing that has remained constant in my life is workout and yoga all through my journey, and that's what has helped me, be grounded, I think.
It's important. That's another message. Sorry, Sajani, before you share about where people can find you. It's important, guys, apart from these self-help and transformation work that you give to your mind, it's so important that you also seek or find a way to help your body to, the meditations and the exercises. It really, really, really helps. Take that me time. Now that we just have been through the International Yoga Day just a couple of days ago, and we have a yoga lover. So I think we need to take this opportunity, Sajani, that you enlighten people. I've not tried yoga, or I do not know yoga yet as much as you may do. Please, so I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, sure. So yoga, since we're talking about this topic here about yoga, I think yoga comes from the term, means like integration, basically, right? And like you rightly said, it's just not about the mind, it's about the mind, body, emotion, or action connection, like how you are able to align, right? So it's yoga is not about the fancy posture. If you see people doing the Surya Namaskars and all of the different postures, that's great. That's your body, everything that's external. That's great. But also yoga is also to have your mind, body, and channelizing your energy. So have at least 10 minutes of silence or 5 minutes of silence, even if you're in a busy day, just going to the silence and doing vipassana meditation or just silence meditation. Let's not put any term to it. Just, being silent, just owning that thing, control of your inner self, gives the awareness of yourself and helps you grow that presence, that awareness, that the sanity, the serenity. And that serenity of the mind, when you take anywhere, you can get far more productive, far more clarity in your work, far more faster your mind starts to work. Then if you go with a clogged mindset of your heavy day you go through every day, right? So 5 minutes every day, just sitting quietly in silence, or maybe just do 10-15 minutes. You don't have to do 1 hour or 1.5 hours. You're not unless you're a model or something, just 15-20 minutes of just jumping around, jumping jacks, or just walking around, or if you can just go to the park. That's very, very essential. So that's what I do usually. That's what I recommend for my people as well. So where can people find me right now? I'm available on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My ID is at the rate Sajani Rai Augustine. So what I'm doing at the moment is, it's gonna take a little bit time. I'm working on a program for women, especially, like we talked about the branding bit of it, personal branding and business, where we can help women to turn their own skills and crafts into the business that they want to open, so that we can help more women to be more independent, more free, and not live like chained into some kind of table or a job or something that you're not passionate about. If you're passionate about your job and you're happy, that's great, right? But if you're not, then there is something. People feel that these roles, these creative, honing your creative intelligence is useless. But like Einstein said, it's about who do you want to listen to? Who are your role models, right? Who are the legends, that you want to get inspired from? So you have to have that very, very, your core values, your core models, your core behaviors needs to be very strong and powerful, and you need to cut through the chaos, the noise, and understand what is a value and what is just a distraction. The separation of the wheat from the chaff has to be very, very clear. And that's what I want to bring out, the essence of understanding or decoding your own inner craft, your own inner intelligence. So I bring neuroscience and creativity, and blend that and help you brand your own personal brand. Basically, what I mean by personal brand is your own authenticity, your own natural instinct, your skills, your experiences, your story, your value. You have to be able to bring that out. You're meant to serve with that. You're meant to help people with that. And when you help others, you help yourself. When you grow others, you grow yourself. And that's my concept of this idea of the program that I'm going to launch. I'm going to invite you, of course, Farhana, and many others.
Of course.
When we do that, right? So that's my essence of the program that I'm currently working on. So my Instagram ID, people can start getting updates on at Sajani Rai Augustine, so that you can get in tune into the world of learning to be your own boss. So for all the women out there.
That's really amazing.
Thank you, Farhana, for allowing me to share, my journey and my experience. And it's incredible to learn from you as well, because your journey of being a mother, since you invited me into your mother forum, and we talked about the fact that I'm not a mother in terms of biological mother, but I'm a mother at heart in terms of understanding compassion, because mother especially means compassion, right? We've seen how that is depleting in our world today. So how much more we need it, right? People shying away from emotional compassion, rather wants to only work with logic and reasoning, which will only take them just maybe a little bit further from where they are, but it won't take them very far. So that's what I believe, and that's what the legends, if you read all the legends, like there are 350 million books where you read, if you pick them, every one of them will have this if you read carefully. So that's what I want to share.
No, of course, that's amazing.
Very fast.
No. You've been just yourself. Just I'm glad and happy about the way. See, that's when when you being yourself, you tend to really resonate and you want to communicate to the world what you really ought to do with the work that you've been doing, isn't it? So
Yes.
I'm so glad to have you in my show, because it's just not, even though I started this as a forum for working mothers, but I think, like, with the women, Wonder Womans, I meet like you in my real life. That's why I feel like somehow my background of women reflecting our women of wonders. Before becoming moms or mothers, we are women. And the of course, how much ever we keep singing along and celebrating women on a mother women's day, it's more important how do we acknowledge each other in every walk our life, and every opportunity that we get to work, right? So I feel I'm so glad about having you, and the thought about helping others and the emotions of a mother that you carry is what makes you so special to be part of my community. I thoroughly enjoy being with like-minded people, and the way you want to you are establishing your branding and your post on how devotedly you want to help a lot of women out there. And I'm sure there are going to be working mothers, definitely you are foreseeing them to adopt or enroll for your courses there. So we all wish you all the best about whatever things that you're doing, and we are so excited and eager to see you blossom and inspire, keep inspiring all of us like you've been doing so far in our show, and as well in the personal life of people who know you personally. And I would love to know all the more about you. And thank you very, very much, Sajani, for coming on the show. And I just hope our viewers had enjoyed and got the message that, guys, you are not alone and you are just wonderful and amazing as who you are. Spend that me time with yourself and understand, and take that deep breath and relax yourself. Life, don't be too hard on yourself. Life may seem harder, but it's how you perceive it and how you see it. So we're just here to help you find your happiness. At least my theme stays so. And Sajini's message of she's also trying to do the same. She's trying to find your own happiness and finding your own self. That's what the message we would like to give it to you. And all the women out there are really wonderful. And all the men out there, I don't want to leave you. You are being really supportive, being a father, being a brother, being a husband, being whoever you might be, making us do whatever you are, like acknowledging us as well. So thank you everyone, whoever is watching the show, and it's great to connect with you. Please find our social media handles. I'm also writing down in the description below of this video. So get connected to us, like talk to us. We are there to help you. We've been through so much, and we are there to take you through wherever possible we could be. If we could not do it, we will be able to redirect you to the right people, because we have a community of people who are selflessly working towards helping every one of you there. Thank you so much. Sajani, would you like to add any last few words to the viewers, and then we do a wrap?
Oh, it was so amazing, Farhana. I really resonate. I think with everything that you say. So, I can continue talking to you for another hour. But we have to respect the time of our viewers as well. So, we'll do this again. So, as we talked about. So, yeah, I really want to thank you once again. And, we want to encourage more people to come forward and, not be, like you said, we're not alone. I think I love that line, and I think that's one of my takeaways. One of the many takeaways that I have for today. And thank you, Prana. Thank you to all the viewers for having me.
Thank you so much. Take care. Stay home. Stay safe. So that's the standard line. Even my children tell in their videos, guys, stay home, stay safe. Coronavirus third wave is coming. So I just got that into the flow. But anyway, it's really serious. I am a COVID survivor. I know the pain, and I've seen my mom, coming out of COVID. So please ensure we fight this as well together. Take care. Bye. Until my next video.